Hi guys, I just want to announce that I started a Patreon for the channel. So if you wish and you want to support us through Patreon, that's fine. If you don't, you just want to stay where you are, that's fine. We appreciate you either way. Thank you for your support, and we'll talk very soon. And there's Simon. Welcome to MJ Hobby Corner, everyone. In today's video, we're going to see the building of one of my Leviathan class steam walkers. And just to give you guys an idea of some of the things that I was thinking about when I was building it, and to show you some of the materials and tools that I used. So why don't we go to the crafting bench without further ado and see what's up with that walker. All right. Well, here's my craft bench, and I have a lot of stuff here, so bear with me. First things first, we're going to use a ton of forks. I have a ton of forks, knives, spoons, all this plastic stuff. This is excellent. I've been finding these things to be very, very useful. So we're going to use these to make the legs. This is going to be a four-legged walker, steam walker. So we're going to use that to make the legs. Now, for the body, I have all these cans and bottles, so I decided I already have the body pretty much, I've been working on it. So this here has to be, with the Dremel, I straighten all this up and kind of dull it down a bit. And notice how there are those little bits there, and those are actually little brats. These are wire brats, 18 gauge. Okay. And I actually connect my piece here with those brats and with glue. This is very, very secure. This is also glued, this plastic cap. Okay. And this is a orange juice cap, and it has all these cool details on it. So I put this in the rear, and then this forms the rear of the beast. Now, this is already done. This is the neck, okay? And I have a little bit, these are some cog buttons that I bought at Walmart, and so one of them is already on there. And then this came from a spray piece, okay? Now, this has some motion. This came from a spray piece that I used. I collect a lot of old, old bleach bottles and things like that, and wash them up real good. And then I break up the internal network of the thing, and here is the shell of the spray gun, right? So I take out all the guts, and that's what I use for my neck piece here. Now, this has motion, okay? And again, this has been bolted in. Here is my dowel. Okay, and then all that is glued, and the dowel goes all the way into the tin can. It's a long piece, and then I drill a hole in the neck of this with my Dremel, and then it fits in quite nicely. Okay, so it still has to be bolted down here so it doesn't come off. So that's my neck piece. Now here's my head, and again, to save some time, I already started working on the head. Now notice again, this is going to be a recurring theme in this build. Notice how I use the fire brats. I glue this thing. Now this was a plastic piece that came out of some electrical bits that I had, and this is going to form an excellent base for the hatch. So to secure it after gluing it, I take my brackets, my little brats here, and I take my brats, and I'm just going to demonstrate real quick what I do. And this is going to be a very important technique in this build. And safely hold my brat with my pliers and then apply heat to my brat, okay? This is a very sophisticated heat machine. I heat it up, put it on the yellow part of the flame, make sure that brat gets heated, and then simply insert it right through the plastic. It goes through like butter, okay? And then once that plastic, I do put a little bit of glue, tiny bit of glue to the brat or to the base here, and it goes right in. Basically, this once that plastic dries, it forms a covering around the brat on the other side. Okay, so basically this is going to help to adorn the piece, make it look like rivets, but also notice here's another brat, also to secure the piece. This is pretty solid, guys. This is a pretty solid build right now. And then you see a needle. The needle secures my cap piece, okay, for the cannon is secured with a needle and with glue. The piece is also glued. And there's a dowel in there that goes all the way up here, okay, and that's going to be covered by the hatch. Now, this turret does not move. It's not a turret. It's a fixed gun, okay, and these are the guts of the spray gun. I love to use it for making weapons. Now, how does all that go together? Well, I'm going to bolt it right through the headpiece, right through the neck piece there. We're going to have some cables and some other details, and then it's going to have a little bit of motion, okay? So we're going to be doing some bolting through here so that the head doesn't go all the way down. It's just going to have a little bit of motion, okay? And it also kind of twists from side to side, so that's kind of cool. So that's the body and the head, and this is the method that I am employing right now with the brats and with needles. And I have a ton of needles here that I'm using as nails, okay? And that's what's going to support a lot of these pieces. It makes the build a hell of a lot stronger, okay? In addition to this adhesive, it really makes the build a lot stronger. So we're going to work on the legs now because they are critical. But let me show you some cogs from some electrical pieces. This was from like a little tape cassette thing that I had. I love these things. I mean, look at that. Perfect bits for this kind of build. And then these are going to be the arms for a future build, some small walkers, some light walkers. And now we have a piece that moves. And I have two of them. So they're going to be perfect, okay? Just the way they are, they're going to be perfect. And we're going to build some arms for the future, all right? But right now, let's finish this mech. Once I do the legs, and I'm going to show you how I do the legs, then the legs get, there's a hole that drills right through the can, holes, and then the legs get connected, bolted in to the can, okay? And we can start assembling it. Then we're going to talk about the boiler and all that. But for now, let's just do the legs. All right, so I'm arranging the spoons, the knives rather, that I cut, knives and forks, plastic forks, like these here, okay? And I cut myself 16 pieces. So there's 2 pieces for the base, 2 pieces for the area here, and then the leg will be formed by 4 pieces in total because I want to sandwich the pieces of fork and knife, okay, like this. And we're going to connect them in just a minute. Now, some of these are wider, like the knives tended to be wider, so they're going to be the base of this sandwich. And then the forks, which are a bit thinner, are going to go on top like that, okay? But we're going to widen this even more, a little bit more. We're going to sandwich something in between there. So let's work on that, get these legs together, and you can already see that I bolted the base of the legs right to the body already, at least a pair of them. So let's get these legs going. I'm going to use fasteners to provide me with the movement, okay? And these are from the dollar store. All right, so for my tools, a very, very important tool. It's becoming more and more important these days is my Dremel. And I have a filing bit on here that's going to be very important. And then I have my drill bits, and I'm probably going to use the smaller, like the 764 size bit, or maybe a 332 size bit for, you know, I don't need them too big to make the holes, but I don't want them too small either. Next, I have a heating utensil. And this is very important also. It's becoming very, very important in my builds. And like I have a sharp scissor that I use, and my pliers, Very important, because for safety, to hold things while I'm heating it. Don't want to hold things with my fingers, obviously, and then my cutter. And I even have a hammer that I'll be using to kind of make sure that things go right through the surfaces they're supposed to. All right. All right, so we're working on the leg now, and the legs are really critical because they really define the mech, and of course, it's going to be the major support of the mech. Now, this is a quadruped, so I put all of my pieces of fork and spoon together, and there, yes, there is some needles there, and I'm going to be covering that. And this support is very, very strong right now. I'm waiting for this to dry, because there is a hole there that I drilled going through all of that thickness, right, and coming out the other side. That is what's going to screw, and yes, I'm actually going to screw it right to the body, okay? And so that's the idea. Now, the bottom piece here, my foot is already done, and then I gotta find a few more caps, because there's going to be a larger flat cap down there, and so that's the structure, almost pillar-like, right? So think of an Imperial Walker steam version, okay? So here's the leg, and I used my fasteners. These get covered. This is the inside of the leg, so you're not going to see any of that, okay? And then some cabling and stuff like that will finish it, but this is one of them. And here is the assembly, the first assembly. We're going to go through it right now, but here is a piece of knife, and I cut that about 1 inch long. And I like the fact that it has these little ridges. You don't really see them that much anyway, but they kind of form. That little knife is what joins the two limbs, okay? And notice also how I kind of round out those edges there. That's right here. Well, what I do is I have my Dremel with my filing bit, and this is a very nice bit to have, and I just very carefully round everything out with the Dremel, and I get a rounder kind of tip that I use for putting the legs together. So we're going to put some legs together. I cut out all the pieces that I need for the 4 legs, and I'll just show one, and then the rest I'm going to build myself. So one thing that this method utilizes is a lot of little bits that I use for joining. These are brackets that I made out of spoons. And this is another little bit, and I just drill a hole through it. And this, again, is to be able to join something. But these brackets are actually very useful, and I can make them in different sizes and shapes. And basically what I do is, for these kinds of forks and spoons, they're brittle, so you have to be careful. What I usually do is I take my heat, give it a little heat, and then cut it so it doesn't crack. Then to make my bracket, I simply take a small piece, heat it, and quickly bend it. And that's all I do. And I make a bunch of little brackets, and I save them. So then I drill my hole when I'm ready to attach whatever it is. I drill my holes, and then I can use them to join something, okay? So this is a new way that I'm using to do my scratch rails to make them a lot stronger. Now, another little thing I want to just show. The head and the body are already put together, okay? Already put together. This is a pretty solid piece. Right here where you see these little googly eye things, that's all going to be painted. You're not going to see that. You're only going to see a dome. Basically, there is a screw there. I literally screwed, took a long screw and drew right through the plastic, right through the can, and it's also glued. And I put another screw right on the other side. So this neck base is actually a cap screwed right into the can with the glue, and it's very, very solid. Then I use my little cogwheel to decorate the base a little bit, and there it is. You know, it's a cool setup. Now we're going to add wires and cable and things like that. because there is some kind of hydraulic there, right? And then the thing has a big gun on the base. So not a bad, you know, it's not bad, not bad. And it's all a can. All this stuff is really strong because of the little nails that I'm putting through, really, and cement, and really kind of assembling everything so it's nice and strong. Okay, so here's the knife that I cut, and this is the fork that I cut, and that represents these pieces down here. Now, the knives are here, and they're the widest piece. So I'm going to use those first because they're the widest, and then the forks are the thinner pieces, and they have this nice kind of border to them. So they go on top, they kind of sandwich everything. So in order to be able to join these pieces, I'm going to use my fasteners. So I drilled the hole with my Dremel, and then drilled the hole to both sides of my little knife joiner here. This is practically my knee. And then with a marker, I mark the other side, make sure that I know exactly where I'm going to drill so I don't make a mistake. And this will then, I can align the holes and put my fasteners through. So let me do that now. All right, so I put one of my fasteners through already, okay? And then basically just align the holes here. Let's see if I can get this one through. Okay, it goes through right very nicely. And then put it into the other side of the leg. And that's it. Now remember, this side is going to be hidden, so you're not going to see any of that. I'm going to cover that. That gets covered in detail, okay? So that's it. And it does have motion. This could be used to make like moving things, but right now I'm not so concerned about that. I just want to make sure that the figure is strong, okay? So even if I have to sacrifice motion later, it doesn't matter. But that's basically my assembly that I start with, and then I take my rounded edge here, and that's going to sandwich these things. Actually, this one's going to be good to put right here to kind of hide that, and then this over here. But we want to do the nice little border. Make sure that the border shows outside, and there you go. There it hides a little bit the other end there. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, and this right now has a lot of motion. All right, but basically your fasteners go through. Then I add another fastener and drill a hole here, add another fastener so that it's level. Okay, and that's the purpose of that second one. Here's another one, and then I add my other piece of spoon. So total spoons for the legs is actually, here are three, that's 6, and then 7. Okay, and that gives me enough thickness and all that so that the legs don't look too scrawny. Okay, and we're going to add some more details to them later. But all right, so let me just glue this together and we'll be right back. All right, well, things have to dry, but this is basically the idea. I'm supporting it on a cup because it's not, things are gluing. Okay, but we're going to look at some of the things that I did here in order to make the legs and stuff. So basically the legs, there are these dowels that go right through the tin can. I drilled a hole right through. They go right through the tin can, and they support these plastic caps. And then I adorn those caps with these nice little cogs that I bought at Walmart. They're like buttons. And then the cogs have little holes in them. So I burn my needles, make them really hot, put them right through all of these, all the little caps and everything, and they serve to bolt everything down. And it's really nice and tight on this side. Now I got to do this side. So here you'll see a toothpick. It's not a toothpick, but a cocktail stick. And the spoon is clear, so you can see the setup in there. I use the remaining bits from clothespins that I cut. and then that becomes my support for the rear leg, okay? So that goes right in there. There's some glue, and there's also some needles. Notice the needles going through the plastic, bolting everything down, okay? And then the bottom, I've already made the feet for this one, and this is why I needed the notch at the end of the spoon, okay? And this is not glued yet. I needed that notch there because it goes into the leg assembly. And I basically use a clothespin, a cap, a bigger cap. I bolt them with my needles. And then what I do is I take a piece of 16 gauge wire. Okay, and let me see if I can find it. Here it is. It's my 16 gauge wire. I cut a piece and I make a staple basically. It's like a U-shaped, I bent the wire U-shaped, heat it up, and it goes right through the entire piece. I'm going to just remove this a minute so I can show what I'm talking about. So that wire is the staple, and it goes right through. Now there's going to be some hot glue there. I bend the wire a little bit, okay, kind of bend it, and we're going to add a little bit of hot glue, cap that off, but basically just that's what holds this piece. Now that's the piece that's going to be glued. It's going to serve as the ankle, okay? So that I'm not going to glue yet until I'm sure of the pose, because I got to make sure the ankles are right once I have all the legs. Now, these are the legs that are further apart. I got to have legs that are closer together on the other side, okay, so that this thing can stand, basically. Now, we are going to add something here, which is going to be the boiler with the big steam chimneys there. And then we'll see what else we can add. A little bit of detail on top. And then this guy will be ready. This is a Steam Titan. We're also going to add a ladder maybe going down a little bit. I think that'll be cool. And maybe something on the underside. Need a few cables and hydraulic things to go around. And we also have to do the hatch, okay? Also, some more weapons. I'm going to get some more weapons on this thing. All right, so here is the walker. Let me just spin him around a little bit gently so you guys can see all the work. And he's very, very sturdy. I'm very happy with this build. The main idea of the build was to try out a whole new technique of just putting stuff together. So like literally bolting stuff together with little nails and little pins, you know, and by melting the pin, really heating the pins and inserting them into the plastic, we can get a really cool way of literally like bolting plastic together, you know, assembling plastic and cans and whatever. It just gives it. Now I do use glue. Of course, the build does use a glue as well, okay? I still have to finish some of the areas here, like this area. Here is the boiler, and we just did that today. Just bring you up a little bit closer to the boiler. And again, by heating my little fasteners and my little needles, I can actually do some pretty cool details. Okay, so there's some rivets there. So when I paint all that, it's going to look cool. And I have to insert a few more. And I do that by cutting the needle, trimming it, and then heating it. And it goes right through that plastic. I did the same thing here for the smokestacks. You can see how a needle went right through one of them. And then I have like a little mast thing going on here. I'm probably going to put another one on the other side. This bit was a bit that I used from a soap container, okay, and it looks really cool. I really like that bit. And again, that's glued there and then bolted down with one of these needles. It went right through the plastic, okay. And then this is an old medicine bottle. This has nails that were heated up and then went right through. There's a little lip of plastic there, went right through and bolted to the bottom plastic. There's also adhesive on the sides. Okay, now for the turret over here, and this turret does spin. This is magnetized, okay? It is magnetized, and it's a cheap magnet. It's no earth magnet or nothing like that, and it sticks right to the can. It's very strong, and so I can now, turn the turret. Now, for the bulky part here of the turret, I used a wooden bead, and then with my Dremel and my file, the little file bit, shaped it. Okay. Also added some cabling. You can see it here. And again, that cabling gets heated under some a nice little flame, and I can shape it whichever way I want, and then put it on. There's also a coil here, which I got to clean up some of the leftover hot glue, because I don't use very much hot glue in this build. But there's a little coil there, and that's a Tesla coil to give some energy to the critter. I'm going to be mixing coil technology with steam technology and clockwork. I think that would be very interesting. So here are the cheek guns move. Okay, and you can see that I used a dowel and some remnants of the clothespins, and then inserted them, drill a hole into these caps and inserted them, and that's it. And then I have another gun over here. Okay, and that one's pretty cool too. And now for this little lip, this is a bit of plastic spoon, cut it, and there is a little pin down there that helps support it, and you can kind of see it in the blackness. That's a little needle that I heated up and punctured the plastic with. Now this is going to have a little glass. Once I paint it, this little thing is going to go under there, okay? And it's going to be glass, so I don't want to paint it so that it maintains its clarity. And there's some cabling on the legs. Now these legs have to get bolted in. I'm going to be drilling a hole through the ankles, bolt the stuff in, probably with a little nail, and then that's it. They're going to be glued there in place. And a very nice, really fun build, guys. It's a 2-day build. Took me 2 days, and we're going to give it a little bit of spray paint now and check it out with the spray paint. But I wanted you guys to see it raw. Okay, and I'm going to take a few pictures so you guys see it raw. And this is the other Titan. This is a really big Titan. Okay, and we're going to be making some smaller ones next. All right, so that was it, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. That was just a way of showing how I built the major components to this walker. And now in the next video for this week, remember this is Steam building a Steam Fantasy Week here at MJ Hobby Corner. So the next build is going to be a small Steam tank, and we're going to look at some World War I tanks. I already have a decision. It's going to be a small unit, and still a very important unit, maybe a couple of tanks, we'll see on the time frame. And this is going to be sort of the backbone of the force list, because these will be smaller vehicles. Now in 1 hour war games, you do not use a point system to determine your forces, okay? So that's very important. All right, folks, I'll let you go. Thank you so much. Join us again. Steam tank coming next, then a pair of very small walkers. These are going to be sort of the important backbone of the force lists. And one of our subscribers had suggested something. I believe it's Westerfield. There's some cool concepts on there. So thank you for that suggestion. And yeah, I'll be looking at that and see what else I add to the narrative. I already have a narrative for the game, okay? So let's keep building, folks. Talk soon.